What if a few leaked documents could change the course of history? A secret letter scandal that helped push America toward revolution. A coded telegram that pulled the United States into World War I. Classified report that exposed the truth about the Vietnam War. And massive digital leaks that revealed hidden military operations and global surveillance. These moments didn't just embarrass governments. They reshaped politics, wars, and public trust. Today, we're looking at 5 times U.S. military intelligence was leaked to the public, and the consequences were enormous. One of the earliest and most surprising intelligence leaks happened long before the United States even existed. In the early 1770s, tensions between the American colonies and Britain were already rising. But a private set of letters would soon make the situation even more explosive. The episode became known as the Hutchinson Letters Affair. At the center of the story was Benjamin Franklin, who at the time was living in London and representing several American colonies. Franklin believed his job was to maintain peaceful relations between the colonies and the British government. But in 1772, he received a mysterious package from an anonymous source. Inside the package were 13 confidential letters written by Massachusetts Governor Thomas Hutchinson and Lieutenant Governor Andrew Oliver to British officials. In those letters, the colonial leaders complained about unrest in Massachusetts and suggested that Britain send more troops and impose stricter controls over the colonists. Franklin immediately realized how explosive these letters were. They revealed that colonial leaders were secretly encouraging Britain to crack down on their own people. Franklin decided to send copies of the letters to Samuel Adams in Boston, asking him to keep them private until a proper response could be organized, but that didn't happen. Instead, the letters were published in the Boston Gazette in 1773, and the reaction was immediate. Colonists were furious to learn that their own governor had been secretly pushing Britain to tighten its control over them. Public outrage exploded across Massachusetts, and many historians believe the scandal helped push the colonies closer toward rebellion. Back in London, British officials launched an investigation to find out who had leaked the letters. When innocent people were wrongly blamed, Franklin eventually admitted that he had sent the documents to America. As punishment, he was dismissed from his position as Postmaster General. Ironically, the controversy pushed Franklin even further toward supporting independence. Within a few years, he would return to America and join the revolutionary cause against Britain. Another intelligence leak that changed the course of history happened more than a century later. During World War I in 1917, the United States was still officially neutral in the war raging across Europe. President Woodrow Wilson had even been re-elected partly because he promised to keep America out of the conflict. But everything changed because of a single intercepted message, known as the Zimmerman telegram. British intelligence had been secretly monitoring German communications for years. Their codebreakers managed to intercept and decode a confidential message sent by German Foreign Minister Arthur Zimmermann to the German ambassador in Mexico. The contents of the telegram were shocking. Germany planned to restart unrestricted submarine warfare, which meant attacking ships in the Atlantic without warning. German leaders knew this would likely provoke the United States into joining the war. To prepare for that possibility, the telegram proposed a secret alliance with Mexico. Germany promised that if Mexico joined the war against the United States, it would help Mexico reclaim territory it had lost decades earlier, including Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona. British intelligence understood just how explosive this information was. Instead of releasing it immediately, they waited until the political moment was right. In February 1917, they finally leaked the decoded telegram to the United States government. Soon after, the message appeared in American newspapers. The reaction was dramatic. Many Americans who had previously supported neutrality were outraged by Germany's proposal. Public opinion shifted almost overnight, And within weeks, the United States officially entered World War I. The Zimmerman telegram became one of the most powerful examples of how a single leaked document could influence global events and change the course of history. But decades later, during another controversial war, one intelligence leak would ignite one of the biggest political battles in American history. The next major intelligence leak happened during one of the most controversial conflicts in American history, the Vietnam War. By the late 1960s, public trust in the government was already beginning to weaken. But few people knew just how much information about the war had been kept secret. That changed in 1971 with the release of what became known as the Pentagon Papers. The documents were part of a massive classified report commissioned by U.S. Defense Secretary Robert McNamara. The report examined more than 2 decades of American political and military involvement in Vietnam, stretching back to the end of World War II. The study contained around 7,000 pages of secret government analysis and internal communications. One of the analysts who worked on the project was Daniel Ellsberg. As he read through the documents, Ellsberg became convinced that the American public had been misled about the true nature of the war. According to the report, several U.S. administrations had privately admitted that the war was far more complicated and difficult than they publicly claimed. Ellsberg struggled with the decision for months. Eventually, he decided that the public deserved to know the truth. In 1971, he secretly copied thousands of pages from the classified report and delivered them to journalists at the New York Times. After carefully reviewing the material, the newspaper began publishing excerpts from the documents. The revelations showed that government leaders had repeatedly expanded the war, while publicly suggesting the situation was under control. The Nixon administration immediately tried to stop the publication of the documents, arguing that the leak threatened national security. The legal battle quickly reached the U.S. Supreme Court, which ruled that the newspapers had the right to continue publishing the information. The decision became one of the most important cases involving freedom of the press in American history. Although the leak did not immediately end the Vietnam War, it significantly damaged public trust in the government and intensified debates about transparency and accountability. Decades later, another intelligence leak would become even larger and more controversial. In 2010, the website WikiLeaks suddenly released hundreds of thousands of classified U.S. military and diplomatic documents. The source of the leak was Chelsea Manning, a U.S. Army intelligence analyst stationed in Iraq. While working with classified databases, Manning discovered records related to military operations in Iraq and Afghanistan. Some of the files included reports of civilian casualties that had never been publicly acknowledged. Manning also found a classified video showing a U.S. Apache helicopter attack in Baghdad that killed several people, including 2 journalists. Disturbed by what she had seen, Manning decided to copy the files and send them to WikiLeaks, an organization created to publish secret documents online. The leak became the largest release of classified information in American history. More than 700,000 military and diplomatic records were eventually published, revealing sensitive details about wars, foreign policy discussions, and intelligence operations around the world. The U.S. government argued that the leaks endangered lives and damaged national security. Manning was arrested, charged under the Espionage Act, and sentenced by a military court to 35 years in prison. However, in 2017, President Barack Obama reduced the sentence, and Manning was released after serving about 7 years. Just 3 years later, another intelligence leak would send shockwaves through governments around the world. In 2013, a former intelligence contractor named Edward Snowden revealed a series of highly classified documents about global surveillance programs run by the U.S. National Security Agency, or NSA. Snowden had worked as a systems administrator for both the CIA and the NSA, which gave him access to extremely sensitive information. While working with classified systems, he discovered that the NSA was collecting enormous amounts of phone and internet data from people across the globe, including millions of American citizens. Believing that the public had a right to know about the surveillance programs, Snowden secretly copied thousands of documents. Instead of posting them online directly, he contacted investigative journalists and arranged to meet them in Hong Kong. In June 2013, the British newspaper The Guardian published the first reports based on Snowden's files. The revelations showed that intelligence agencies had the ability to monitor phone records, emails, and digital communications on a massive global scale. The disclosures sparked intense debates about privacy, national security, and government surveillance. Governments around the world began reviewing their intelligence practices, and the U.S. Congress held hearings about the scope of the programs. Snowden was later charged under the Espionage Act and remains wanted by the United States government. After leaving Hong Kong, he eventually received asylum in Russia, where he still lives today. These stories show that intelligence leaks have played a powerful role in shaping American history. Some leaks exposed government decisions during wartime. Others revealed hidden surveillance programs or controversial military operations. But they all raise the same difficult question. When someone reveals classified information, are they protecting the public or betraying their country? If you enjoyed this story about secret documents and historic intelligence leaks, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more fascinating stories about hidden history, mysterious events, and the secrets that change the world.